Who would have thought the Detroit Tigers would be making the playoffs back in August? I sure didn't, but am so excited that they had a great run of late and will now be playing in October. The Tigers actually have a really interesting history, and as a lifelong Tigers fan and history nerd, I think it's time that we learn more about it. Franchise goes as far back as 1896 when they joined the Western League in baseball. The team owner at the time, George Vanderbeck, had a park built for his team a year later, which became known as Bennett Park. This eventually became the home of the Tigers for the next 104 seasons, though it was rebuilt and changed names several times, eventually becoming just simply known as the beloved Tiger Stadium. The Tigers won their first game, which was technically an exhibition, on April 13th against a local semi-pro team called the Athletics. The Tigers won with a score of 30-3. Their first Western League game was also a victory on April 28th against the Columbus Senators. They won 17-2. At this time, they could definitely score some runs. The Western League was renamed the American League for the 1900 season, and the following year it became a major league, now competing with the National League for players, as well as fans in Chicago, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, and St. Louis. Each of these cities now hosted two teams, one from each of the professional leagues. There were disputes between the two leagues at first, but by 1903, the leagues signed an agreement recognizing each other and playing a championship game, which is how the World Series got its start. The Detroit Tigers' first game as an actual major league team was at home against the Milwaukee Brewers. The Tigers entered the bottom of the ninth inning down 4-13. However, as fans of the Tigers know, they can end their games in dramatic fashion. This was the case in their very first game as the home team came back to win 14-13. That year, they finished in third place among 8 teams. The Tigers have had many great teams throughout the decades and countless all-star players. The seasons between 1905 and 1926 are now known as the Cobb era, after Tyrus Raymond Cobb, one of the greatest players of all time. Behind Cobb and his talented teammates, including Sam Crawford, Huey Jennings, Bill Donovan, and Ed Killian, the Tigers won the American League in 1907, 1908, and 1909. However, they did not win the World Series at any of those years. When Cobb retired after 22 years with the Tigers, they built a solid franchise foundation, though they had some unimpressive records. In 1934, they came back with another American League pennant, but fell to the St. Louis Cardinals in Game 7 of the World Series. The following season, the Tigers once again made it to the World Series, this time reigning victorious over the Chicago Cubs in 6 games. 1940 was the next season that the Tigers won the American League. However, this year they were defeated by the Cincinnati Reds in Game 7 of the World Series. Unfortunately, the following season, major players like Hank Greenberg changed their baseball uniforms to Army uniforms to fight for America in World War II. As a result, the Tigers faced some down years, but in 1945, they came back with another World Series victory, this time over the Chicago Cubs. Now, the Tigers may or may not even make the World Series here in 2004, but personally, I like the look of the team heading forward. They still maintain a rich history, and true fans will find themselves saying, "Bless you boys," every season. So, good luck, Tigers. Thanks for giving us something to root for these past few weeks, and thank you so much for all you watching, and have a great day.